Today I thought it would be fun to get ready using a different brand for every step in the makeup application process. Everything I use isn't necessarily drugstore in that you can't find it at, say, Walmart or Target or CVS, but it is all affordable. First off, I always start my makeup application with a lip balm, and this is the Kernel Sleeping Lip Mask in Berry. This is very similar to the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask, except that you can get 3 of these for $9 on Amazon rather than the price that you pay for Laneige at Sephora. To start off with, let's go with LA Girl in the HD Pro Prep Smoothing Primer. This is a clear sort of gel primer, and it is a silicone primer. I press it into my pores in the T-zone, and then anything that's left on my fingers, I just spread to the outer edges of my face. I already have my skincare and sunscreen on. I had a request from one of my subscribers to use the Believe Beauty foundation again, and so I'm going to do that, but I have to mix the two to get the right shade because I accidentally bought one too dark, and so I purposely bought one too light so that I could mix them and use them up. So I'll just put 1 pump of each onto my makeup palette and mix them together. And I will just dot this around my face. And then come in with my beauty sponge to blend. I did use up a bottle of this already. I had the correct foundation color and went through all of that. It was when I repurchased that I didn't have the color name with me, and that's how I ended up with the wrong color. It used to be that everything from Believe Beauty was $5 or under, but inflation has taken care of that, and now there are some things that are a little bit over $5. And I didn't use very much of that at all. 1 pump is really sufficient, but because I have to mix and it's hard to get half a pump, I usually end up with too much foundation on my palette. Moving on to concealer, I'm going to use the Revlon Candid to conceal these dark circles. This actually might be a candidate for my PUD project when I get one of the products out that I rolled in at the beginning of January, because there's not very much left of this at all. And I'm just going to put a couple dots in the center and 1 at the outside. And then I will blend with my finger to start. And then when I have it mostly blended, I'll go in with my e.l.f. concealer sponge, dry. I like blending my concealer with a dry sponge because it doesn't remove quite as much product. And I just use that to blend the edge into the foundation, and then using my 10x mirror I will look and make sure that I don't have any excess product creasing in the corner. I have to kind of straighten that skin out like that in order to get into those creases. And while I'm working on priming and the base and such, I'm going to use the Ulta Beauty. This is an example of one that's not really drugstore, but it's on the drugstore side of Ulta, so I think it counts. And this is the matte eye primer in Nude. So I'll take a little of that on my finger and just pat it into my eyelid. I like this one because it does have a little bit of coverage, so it conceals some of the darkness or redness that I have on my eyelids, but it does not crease, and it does help my eyeshadow to stay on all day. And I kind of just keep tapping at that until it's dry, because if it's not dry and I open my eyes, then it will stick and I'll end up with a line here that doesn't have any primer on it because it's separated and stuck to my eyelid. This is so reflective and so dirty. I'm going to set my whole face with the No. 7 Triple Action Finishing Powder. A lot of times I just use this to set under my eyes, but today I'm going to use it to set my whole face. I was going to use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Finishing Powder to set my face, but then I can't use my Wet n Wild Brulee, and I really want to use that. So I'm going to do the whole face with No. 7. And I actually washed brushes last night, so I have a whole set of clean face and eye brushes. I have so many more brushes to wash, but I do have a clean set. So I'm going to take this, tap out under my eyes, and just tap that on, and under eye is set. And then I'm going to get a bigger brush and set my whole face. For bronzer, let's use the Flower Beauty Heatwave Bronzer in Sunlight. This is such a beautiful bronzer. It's a kind of cool tone rosy bronzer, and it's just really good for my skin tone. It's not too warm, and it has that kind of reddish tone that I get when I get some sun. And I am going to take a big fluffy brush and just kind of diffuse this on my cheeks. I'm not actually using it for contour. I am going to just kind of put it on my face where the high points are, where the sun would hit, to kind of warm it up. Ooh, got a lot on my forehead. Not a nice little dry patch right there. Thank you, tretinoin. Sometimes I don't know if I should continue the tretinoin or not. I get my face under control and everything's looking good, and then it just does that again. So honestly, it's getting a little old. And then we're going to go into Essence, the Mosaic Blush, and this one is All You Need Is Pink, and it's just such a pretty pink berry tone, just really natural looking. And again, I'm so excited I have clean brushes. And just going to put that. So just a little bit of a pink flush to the cheeks. Highlighter, let's pull out the Color Plop. For a highlighter, let's pull out the ColourPop Flexitarian. And this one I like to apply with my fingers. So, look at that. Isn't that pretty? And so I'm just going to dab that on to the high points of the cheek. And I use one finger to put it on, and then I use another finger to blend. And then I can just keep going back and forth between the finger with the product on it and the blending finger until I get it how I want it. And I think that's just such a pretty glow. I kind of do that little C shape around. And if you want to, you can put a little above your eyebrows just for a little glow there. But there we go. Okay, let's do some brows before I get to the eyes so that we have a nice frame. I'm going to use the Moira 1.5mm Precision Brow Pencil, and the color, I have is taupe. So I'll go in and brush up the little bit of hair that I have. I'm kind of sparse here in the front, and then I don't have a whole lot of a tail, and so I do a lot of drawing. But I start at the inner portion and just kind of start putting those little hairs in there. And in case you couldn't tell, today is just about putting on makeup. I didn't want to do a super long get ready with me. I'll probably edit out some of the extraneous parts and just put on makeup and talk about the makeup. These are favorite products of mine. It's not necessarily my top pick in every category, but I did pick out things that I love and use all the time. So it's kind of a shop my stash with a twist of just using something from a different brand in every category. And then when I get them drawn on, I will go back and brush through again to blend and just kind of use my finger to clean up anywhere I might have colored outside the lines. And if you have an area that's too dark, you can kind of use the spoolie to help remove it and blend it, and then it's not too dark anymore. And since I don't have an affordable brow gel in a brand that I haven't used or will use later, I'm not going to do brow gel today. So let's go on to eyes. I do get to use my Wet n Wild Brulee to set my eyeshadow primer. And so I just go into that. You can see this is almost gone, and I do have another one already. And then tap out in case there's any creasing. And I use that just from the crease all the way up to the brow bone. It brightens the area, and it also provides a base for blending the matte shadow that I'm going to use in my crease. For my eyeshadow, I'm going to use the Alter Ego Shadow Kiss. This is the dupe for the Natasha Denona Glam palette. I don't have any Natasha Denona shadows, so I can't do the comparison, but there are plenty of comparisons on YouTube if you want to see how they compare. So I'm going to go into Risk right here first and just start putting that as a transition color in the crease. It's very light, but it just kind of starts to lay down that gradient. and give some definition there. We have snow on the ground and it's a really bright sunny day. There's a window right here to my left, so I may be a little brighter on the left-hand side of my face than I am on the right. It's mostly natural light in here. I just have a little bit to kind of fill in some of the shadows, but I really want you guys to be able to see the makeup, and sometimes the lights will just blow it out so much that you can't see. So I've got them kind of turned down. I've got just enough, like I said, to fill in the shadows. I have swatched here on my arm Desire and Shade, these two right here, Desire and Shade, and you can see that this one is a cooler tone. This one you can see more of the orange, whereas this one's more taupey. So I want the cooler tone one, which is Desire, and I'm going to just put that deeper in the crease and keep it focused on the crease and the outer V area. This one isn't going to go up as high as I took Risk. And that helps to redefine a crease in hooded eyes. I do go a little above my natural crease. My natural crease is like right here, and I will take this up just slightly to give the illusion that I have more lid space than I actually do. So we're just going really cool and neutral today, and can't decide. I may use both of these. I may use this one and then put this in the outer part and then use this one on the center of the lid. So I'm going to go into Shroud first, and I just love to use my fingers. These are so soft, and I'm just going to put that right on the outer, pretty much third of the lid. I'm not coming in any further than my pupil, and my finger's not super precise, but that's okay. I'm not going for super precise today. Pretty. And then I want to brighten up the inner part of the eye, so I'm going to go into Eclipse right in the center and kind of to the inner part. Oh, that's so pretty. And now for an inner corner shimmer, I'm going to take my ring finger into Disguise and put that on the inner third of the lid. Just, and kind of a little bit right at the lash line in the center as well. And if it touches here on the lower lash line, I don't really mind that. It kind of helps brighten up that whole inner corner that way. But I am going to use my highlighter as an inner corner highlight in just a little bit. I do want to deepen up out here in the outer V just a little bit more. So I'm going to go into Umbra on a flat shader brush just on the tip, just like that. And I tap a little off on my palette and then just run that under the lower lash line here and a little bit in the outer corner. And I just put the brush down and pull in this way. So it's not really a wing or anything, it's just a little bit of shadow pulling in towards the center to give some depth there. I almost panicked because I can't use my Wet n Wild Simma Brown Now Kohl Eye Crayon, but I'm going to go in with the Beige Cosmetics Power Pencil in Warm Brown, and I'm going to tightline with that. And if you don't like watching this, don't worry, I'm not going to show the whole thing. I've got plenty of videos where I show my tightlining. Before I do mascara, I like to do my setting spray because otherwise I end up with dots of mascara all along my brow bone because the mascara gets wet and then I blink and it's a mess. So to avoid that, I do setting spray before mascara. And my first and I think most important e.l.f. product is the e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist. Love this stuff. It gives such a beautifully fine mist. You don't feel like you're drowning, your hair doesn't get all wet, and it's just lovely. When it's mostly dry, I do like to take that sponge and just kind of press it in a little bit. And it just helps everything meld together. The last thing I have to do is mascara, and it's going to, oh no, I can't use this one. I pulled the e.l.f. Lash and Roll, and then I decided on the e.l.f. setting spray at the last minute, so I have to find a new mascara. Hold on a second. I thought I was going to be in trouble that I didn't have a mascara in a brand I haven't already used, but I found one. LA Colors Biggie Lash. I like this. It claims that it's a tubing mascara, but it's actually not really a tubing mascara because it doesn't remove like a tubing mascara. It doesn't come off with warm water in the tubes. I actually have to use my cleansing balm. It does come off with the cleansing balm fine, but it does not come off with just warm water. So in my book, that's not really a tubing mascara, but it does not flake or smudge, so it does have that going for it. And it does a really nice job building up volume and length on your lashes. The biggest problem with this mascara is it has a huge brush, and that happens every single time I use it. I seriously did not think I was going to be able to get a lip liner, lipstick, and lip gloss and still not reuse a brand, but I did it. I have a Milani Color Statement lip liner in all natural. I think this might be the only Milani product that I own. And it's not the ideal color that I would normally use with this lipstick, but it's close enough. And for the lipstick, I have a Maybelline Cream lipstick in Rosy Risk. Next to the Flower Beauty in Naked Blush, I think this is my favorite lipstick. And hopefully you can see why, because it is just this beautiful pink nude color, and I just love it. And it's so comfortable. It's a traditional cream bullet lipstick, and so it's not super long lasting, but it also doesn't make your lips look like prunes, which, you know, there's a trade-off there. And then I don't think I've used any hard candies, and so I have a hard candy Plumping Serum Volumizing Lip Gloss, and the color is First Kiss. It's kind of an opaque sort of milky gloss. And I think it's just really pretty. And there you have a full face of makeup with a different brand in every product category. I hope that you all have a beautiful, blessed day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.